30 years of age when for the first time I had an opportunity, for the first time in my life, to vote for a political party and a leader that I thought will change the course of history in our country and usher in prosperity for us as a black race. I speak to you honestly with a broken heart. 30 years later, black people are poorer than they were 30 years ago. I speak to you when South Africans are more divided along racial lines than they were pre-1994. I speak to you living in a country where we're the murder capital of the world. The government that I voted for on the 27th of April 1994 has unleashed murderers to murderers. We are being murdered in this country than any country in the world. The world has never seen what is happening. The world is trying to find out what on earth is happening. 86 people are being murdered in this country every day. The world has never seen something like this. Countries at war don't murder each other, or people don't get killed, than what's happening in this country. I speak to you in a country where, now look at our women. Are you guys aware that every 11 minutes a woman is raped in this country? 11 minutes, every 11 minutes a woman is raped in this country. And this is happening under the watch of a democratically elected government. The government that you people of Region G elected into power. We voted that government into power here in Region G. I speak to you in a country where this government has opened our borders, porous borders, allowed international criminal syndicates to bring drugs, to bring counterfeit goods, to bring expired goods, take them into our communities to come and destroy our youth, and in the process destroy our families and our way of life. I speak to you 30 years down the line, just to really give you a sense, growing up in Skral and having families throughout the country, be not in Mamelodi or Atteridgeville. I was born myself in Amanskral, but I've got family in Soweto and so on. Every time our parents send us to the shops to go and buy bread, or going to a butchery to go and buy meat, we'll buy meat from a butchery run by Mr. Mahlangu. He'll send us to a supermarket run by Mr. Kekana. There'll be an electrician in our community, qualified electrician, Mr. Masute. Today, if I come here in Region G, in Orange Farm, shops are run by people who we don't know who these people are. We have no idea who these people are. And this government, when I was the mayor of the city of Johannesburg, when I raised this particular matter, they decided to call me xenophobic, unleashed a campaign, including reporting me to the South African Human Rights Commission, promoting xenophobia. But luckily, I wasn't born yesterday. We've got lost in this country. We've got lost in this country, which this government is prepared to ignore, so that the businesses, black entrepreneurs in our townships, in our villages, in our informal settlements can be run by everyone else except South Africans. I speak to you with a government 30 years down the line. South Africa, our education outcomes are the worst in the world. 80% of our public schools are dysfunctional. Is this a mistake? No, I'm not prepared to accept it. I'm not stupid enough to accept this to really be a mistake. This is deliberate. I'm on record just over 20 years ago already. I could really see what this government wanted to do. We used to, every time I get an opportunity to speak to audiences like this, mainly at the time business people, I will tell them openly that I've got a sense that this government wants to keep black people poor, uneducated, and ignorant. Can anyone argue with it today? 80% of public schools in this country are dysfunctional. That's the reason why 80% of our 10-year-old in public schools can't read for meaning. That is why N.G. Motshekga and Bladen Zimande, they are the longest serving ministers, because they are doing a fantastic job for the ANC. They are delivering to ensure that black people don't get the necessary education. And now we are expected to celebrate. I'm not here to celebrate. I'm here to commemorate this day. I'm grateful that apartheid died in 1994, 27th of April 1994. We killed apartheid, that evil system. But we inherited a brutal system, a system run by evil people, not criminals, evil people, committed to ensuring that black people remain poor, black people remain uneducated. And we are expected to celebrate. That's what Cyril Ramaphosa says. Just a few months ago, we were saying we must celebrate the ANC government because 28 million people are on social grants. In a society, in a country of 60 million people, how can anyone, any normal person be expected to celebrate failure? So what do they take us for? Or have you guys really gotten to be so fools that you are prepared to celebrate failure? We've got to be ashamed of ourselves. Cyril Ramaphosa has got to be ashamed of himself. But lucky enough, let's commemorate this day and appreciate it and ensure that we usher in a new dispensation on the 27th of May. We've got our last opportunity to save this country, because I can tell you, and I'm not a prophet, I'm warning you South Africans, if we fail to exercise our democratic right to remove this government on the 29th of May 2024, then us as black people, we must take personal responsibility. All of us in this room, we must take personal responsibility, because I can tell you, a prosperous South Africa and an ANC government will never coexist in one space. One of them is going to die. And you, people of South Africa, particularly as black people, are the ones who must decide the fate of this country. Are we going to become another failed African country, or are we going to usher in a new future for these children? And we should not really bring about change through violence by going around burning tires, burning our clinics, our schools. We bring about change by making sure that we go out and vote. It hurts me when a young person who's never worked in his or her life, over 18 years of age, you ask them, are you registered to vote? And proudly says, vote for what? My goodness, what kind of person is this? whether you've got education or not, just to really understand that voting, it's about your future. Because whether you go out and vote or not, one thing for sure, South Africa will have government. Whether you go in, you can keep your vote and you think you are proud, you are doing something good. You are punishing yourself and you're punishing the future of your children. The only way you can bring change into your life is to go out and vote this government out of power. Nav declared many years ago, I only voted for this evil government twice, and I'm proud about it, more especially the first time, 27th of April, exactly 30 years ago, I voted for Nelson Mandela. In 1999, I voted the second time, and the last time, I voted for Thabo Mbeki. And that's when I started seeing cracks that this organization growing up with them being exiled. I thought these were political people with a social conscience. I did not understand that these people were criminals, practicing criminality, that years they spent outside the country. Because, and why I'm saying so, is because, tell me, if they spend 30 years fighting for our freedom, if they spend 30 years fighting for our freedom, and we gave them the mandate 30 years ago, what have they done about it? Because it's not about what people say, it's about what people do. Don't judge people about what they say. You must judge people about what they do. They have really demonstrated beyond any reasonable doubt that it is not about you and I. It's about them and their stomach. That's why some of them have got such big stomachs like... they've got no shame. I see this the last few days. They've even managed to get their number one boss that Lerato spoke about, Thabo Mbeki. Someone who's created massive problems for us in South Africa with his relationship with that evil man called Robert Mugabe of ZANU-PF. Zimbabwe, it is where it is today because of Thabo Mbeki. The man who killed so many of our people with during HIV and AIDS pandemic. He decided to make himself a medical expert and murdered our people instead of obviously providing the necessary medical intervention. Today he's coming out like it's a messiah, going around asking our people to vote for the NC. The very same man just a few months ago, he said he can't go out and vote for criminals. What happened? I'm sure the Pala dollars must have worked. What induced him? What has changed? Because it out of his own mouth. I can show you, going to the into your website. The very same man, a few months ago, you said, no, he can't go out and campaign for criminals. But a few days ago, he's telling us, no, we must vote for criminals, they will sort it out afterwards. So you've got to be taken as fools. What induced him for taking this decision? The Pala sofa dollars must have worked. What would have, honestly, what got him now all of a sudden to change such a serious position when our people are suffering? And he's asking you to vote for criminals. So it is up to you, fellow South Africans, people of Orange Farm. I hope and I trust that you'll open your eyes. Please. We cannot afford to have South Africa to be another failed African country. Why? Because you've got an alternative. Here's a new movement called Action SA, only 3.5 years old. A movement started by South Africans to say, not under our watch. We are not going to be like other African countries. We're going to stand up for our country because that's all we've got. We've got nowhere to run to. I'm not running to Zimbabwe where they cannot even produce maize meal. I'm not going to Lesotho. I'm not going to Swaziland. Botswana doesn't want us. So we've got no choice. We're in a corner. And what happens as a human being once you're put in a corner? Got to get out of the corner. And we are saying as Action SA, we're going to get out of this corner. We're mobilizing South Africans. Come out with economic policies that are going to show that South Africa with the highest sustainable unemployment rate in the world. Are you aware also, as I'm talking to you right now, South Africa has got the highest sustainable unemployment rate in the world. The highest sustainable. Why South Africa is called, it says, the people are saying we've got the highest sustainable unemployment rate in the world. It's because other countries, their unemployment rate keeps coming up and down year by year. We're the only country in the world, proven over the last 20 years, our unemployment is the only one that's going up. One way. We're the only country over the last 10, 15 years where our population growth is bigger than our economic growth. And we expected to celebrate today. No, we cannot celebrate. Let us reflect, but appreciate what we've got and say, what can we do to really change our lives? For us as Action SA, the role that COSATU and the South African Communist Party played in destroying our economy, they will never have a veto right on our economic policies. For us as Action SA, we are going to work towards ensuring that the private sector is the one that's going to drive the economy of this country, not us as government. Our role as government is to create fair opportunities for everyone. We don't believe in equal outcome. We believe in equal opportunities. We create equal opportunities for everyone. If you want to be an entrepreneur, become an entrepreneur. You want to become an engineer, you want to be a teacher, you want to be a policeman, that is what government should do. Create equal opportunities for you. And what you do, use your God-given talents to be whatever you want to become, unlike what this current government does. You know, communism started by Lenin and Stalin, and the crooks in Russia in 1917. They killed the Tsars. A group of criminals, Lenin and people. You know how they destroyed, eventually won against the Tsars? The Tsars were also terrible, like apartheid. Those guys were bank robbers. They were real criminals, drug dealers. And this is what has happened. Because these are the very same people. This Russian Communist Party is the one that trained these people who are in our government today. That's why ever since the week they came into power, we've seen a spike of bank robberies. I remember when I was the mayor of the city of Johannesburg, Funzi can tell you, and some of the guys who are tier members who served with me. At Luthuli House, discovered some of the people who were involved in bank robberies and hijacking of cash vans. And I remember when I made this public, initially they denied it. Luckily, I had the information of the people behind. Working at Luthuli House, being involved in cash heist and bank robberies, working for Luthuli House. These are the very same people who decide the future of those children. And we are expected by Thabo Mbeki that you must vote for them. As Action SA, we are saying, no, this is not going to happen. Our borders are going to be closed. This country was built at the back of migrants, and we want to continue asking people of the world inviting them, encouraging them to come to this country, but they must come here legally when they're here to respect our laws. Nothing else. Nothing else. I was so happy a few days ago when I saw Lerato launching a project called what do you call it, Zon? Spaza for Locals. This is to become a reality under Action SA. And I can tell you, I'm going to lead that project myself. You are not going to run business in South Africa, anywhere in our country, if you don't have the papers to be in this country. You are not going to run business in this country if you are not registered with the South African Revenue Services. You are not going to run business in this country if you cannot prove to us how you brought the money into this country. If you are working with Cyril Ramaphosa bringing money through mattresses, that money we don't want. We don't want money coming through sofas and mattresses. Money must come through the Reserve Bank. We can't have money launderers of leaders. Money must come through the Reserve Bank. Show us how you brought money into our country. We are not going to allow you operate with cash. You don't even employ our own people, and then you take your money, go and support terrorist organization. South African money is not going to be used to support terrorist organization. You bring money through the right channels, and when you want to take it out, we want to know. We won't have restrictions how much you can take out. You can make money as much as you want, but take it through the channels, not through the sofas. The sofas are not a bank. We are not going to allow mattresses and sofas to be banking system. We're not going to operate like that. Principals of schools. There's a union called SATU. I don't know if there's any one of you who's a teacher and a member of SATU. SATU under Action SA will never have a veto right or desire to become the principal here in Orange Farm. The school principals here in Orange Farm, the principal is going to be appointed by us as government, and we're going to have one department of education. And one thing for sure, we're going to bring back school inspectors. We are going to bring back school inspectors, and the school inspectors don't need the permission of anyone to visit any school. We want anyone under 75 years of age who are retired by this government. In the meantime, they fail to produce new educated people. So anyone over 75, please, retirement is actually the quickest way to die. So, and we don't want you to die at 75. So come back to work. You can be a school principal or be as an inspector, or we'll give you other jobs in police stations if you're a retired policeman, so that when our people come in with complaints, we can assist them quickly instead of retiring you. And when it comes to criminals, you know, one thing honestly, fellow South Africans, and I'm unapologetic about this, Herman MASHABA and criminals would not live in the same space. I don't want to coexist with criminals. These corrupt politicians and business people, murderers, rapists, and drug dealers, not the users, drug dealers. We are to Action SA. I'm not one for changing of names, but I can tell you we are not going to have, for these categories of crimes, we are not going to have correctional services. We are going to have prisons. Because I'm not interested in rehabilitation of Tabor Beste. A murderer, a rapist, honestly, you have to be stupid. You've got to be a fool to think you can reform Thabo Bester. Thabo, murderer, rapist. Under Action SA, Thabo Bester must pray to his gods. Because I don't believe he believes in God. Because Thabo Bester under Action SA is going to die in jail. Whether it's going to be 80 or 90 or 110, Thabo Bester will never see the outside of jail in his life under our government. Once you are sentenced to life imprisonment, life is going to be life. If you steal public monies, you get sentenced to 15 years. You are going to serve 15 years up to the last day. You're going to serve 15 years up to the last day. And I'm telling this to South Africans that with today's technology, 15 years, you can just count it how many hours it is or how many days. So we're going to have in each cell, we're going to have a technology that is going to tell you if you say you're saving 2,000 days or whatever days, every day is going to reduce by 1. And never think that you'll ever get parole. Because there's not going to be Ubuntu under Action SA. There's not going to be Ubuntu. If you want Ubuntu under our government, don't commit crime. We as Action SA are not going to take your taxes to feed Thabo Bester. We are not going to take your taxes to provide accommodation to Thabo Bester. No, Thabo Bester is going to work in the farm, Monday to Friday, at the list. We want by 8:30, by 8:30, all the prisoners must be out of their cells, must be out in the field working until 5 o'clock, Monday to Friday. And those who work and meet their working targets, they'll get an opportunity on a Saturday like this. They go and play sports and whatever. We'll have some sports for them to play. There won't be time for them to have gangs in prison, because by the time they knock off at 5 o'clock, they'll be tired. They'll go and eat and go and sleep. There won't be time to go there won't be time to form games, what they call them, 26 or 28. There won't be time for that. They'll be so tired by the time they go to sleep. Because they must be up tomorrow morning, 5 o'clock, eat quickly, so that by 8 o'clock they're out of the cells. And I can tell you, we'll give them targets of how many potatoes or cabbage we want. If they don't meet their weekly targets, then they'll work on Saturday. Instead of others who've made their targets, they'll go and play it. We'll have tennis courts for them, we'll have soccer fields. And those who don't meet their targets, they think they're clever. They'll work on Saturday. If they fail, they'll work on Sundays. So that they can learn to pay back to society. Because we want cabbage, our people are starving. 54% of South Africans live below the breadline. There's no way we're going to get South Africans, law-abiding South Africans, having to sleep without having any food to eat, when we've got prisoners not doing anything in prison. So, people of Orange Farm, it's up to you to really decide what kind of future you want for your children. The 30 years of ANC misgovernment, I think let's take it as a learning, as a positive learning that we've learned. We're not going to have Thabo Mbeki to tell us to vote for criminals. We are not going to have Mapanyaza to tell us to celebrate supply of portable showers. When you don't have water in your own homes, says no, it's going to provide the portable. These gimmicks I mean, honestly, these people are really treating us like we're fools. Let us demonstrate to them that we are not fools. So my appeal to you in closing, can we all take the responsibility? Can we all take the responsibility and commit to God that I'm going to do everything possible that people around me, every family member around me, everyone in my street, everyone I meet who's registered to vote, I'm going to ensure that come the 29th of May, I'm going to accompany them to go and vote Action SA so that we can have a better future for our children. But here's a caveat. In the event Action SA fails or disappoints you, don't wait for 30 years. Don't wait for 30 years. 2026 is around the corner. Local governments, as soon as we are done with the 29th of, with the provincial and national elections, we've got to start campaigning for 2026. So as soon as Funzi Ngobene, who you've now elected as the Premier of Gauteng, he starts buying 10 VIP protection, guys, he's never anywhere to be seen. He goes around to go and join with Lebanawa school to your children. We don't want to Funzi ro anavarona mamu postile on social media bareke tiger. Are you prepared to accept that? If we are not careful, it'll happen. Your grandchildren, a tiger. So Funzi, please, out of concentrate on our country, let us become adults, let us become ethical leaders. And I can assure you, I've had a privilege to work with Funzi when I was the mayor. I've had a privilege to work with Funzi from the days of the People's Dialogue. And I'm so proud. You know, something I just realized earlier on. Just before I was called in, when Funzi started speaking, that we had what we call Team Fix South Africa. These are shadow ministers. These are the people I've said to South Africa, in the event you give us the mandate to be government, these are going to be your ministers. Darylin James, Lerato Ngobene, Mbumi. 3 ladies. And it's not something that we planned. These are the kind of leaders I'm saying to you. I'm not going to take you by surprises to give you tigers. We don't need tigers. What do tigers do, you know? What do tigers do? So that shows the kind of disrespect they've got on women. Honestly, it's total disrespect. Mukhalabe, not even a young person. Now can you imagine our young boys at universities must compete with ministers. Ministers that you people elected. Now it's a reflection on us as society. Why can we allow such people to be leaders of society? So you take it upon yourself that ethical leadership must be at the core of your voting. And when you vote, you don't vote for Action SA, you vote for yourself and you vote for the future of your children. And in the event Action SA fails you, then 2026, kick them out. You don't have to wait for 26 years or 30 years. So people of Region G, people of Orange Farm, I hope the message sang through. Let us commemorate this day. Let us not lose hope. Let us not be discouraged, because we can't reverse this evil that has happened, but we can stop it from continuing. And the 29th of May is the day that all of us can use to usher a new future for for this country. Thank you very much.